Hi and welcome back to Down the Shed with me, Jason. So in this video we're going to construct or build this SMD surface mount roulette wheel. So this is entirely surface mount. I do have one that's got 3-hole LEDs on it, but this is 100% surface. The other side of the board, it does have tracks on it going between these, but I don't think they actually do anything. We do have a whole bunch of tiny spare components, and they're not the tiniest ones. I mean, geez, I'll try and zoom in on those just so you can get an idea of just how tiny they are. Let me try and get these in view. So they're pretty much the largest or large surface mount components, and these little puppies are absolutely tiny. So we'll save those because they're not needed, and it's always handy to have spare parts lying around. So let's get back to the other side of the board and zoom you out slightly when I can get a grip on this watch. So I haven't decided whether to start with the 555 and the 4017 chips or on the other components. I think we'll do the chips first. So we're going to be trying out some different tweezers. I've got 4 sets of the new ones I haven't used yet. So let's take the ends off. So we have some pointy ones, quite long pointy ones. Pretty much the same thing again, just don't open quite as wide, but then you can bend them out slightly if you need them to open wider. So they're just, yeah, they're about the same size actually. So I don't know what the difference between them is really. One's narrower and one's wider in the body. So if I put them side by side here, you can see that one's fatter than that one. So that's the only difference there really. Then these have got like a roundish end on them, a bit like a ducktail or something. So I don't know if they're going to get a lot of use, but these are the ones that I think will get most of the use because they've got a nice little bend in them, and they'll make picking up surface mount stuff quite easy. So I'm going to liberate some of these parts and we'll be back. Right, so I've got the 0.6 solder out. So what I'm going to do is literally just clean the iron. I should have had a smaller tip on, but it's not really a big deal. And I'm just going to tin a couple of these pads. Like so, and the same for the other one. I really need my light on, but I'll swamp you out. Too much glare on the board. I have found a nice cheap microscope. It's going to take a few weeks to get here. Hopefully tomorrow I'll have enough wages left to order that after I've paid my bloody car insurance. So you just love it. Driving 24 years. You get no claims bonus, and yet your insurance still goes up. Right, so remembering that there's a little dot on your chip. See if we can get that on the camera, even if I can find the camera. I don't think the camera's focusing on that too well. So let's try. Okay, so hopefully we're getting some focus there. I'll try and get in closer. I put it on a white notepad so it's got nothing else to focus on. So hopefully somewhere on there you can see, I can't even see where it is, it's so small. On the corner where the tweezers are, there should be a little round indent. That matches up because obviously the pin is dependent on the 8 pins as to which way it sits on the board. And you'll see the little goalpost notch that I always mention. I call it the goalpost because of the shape of it. That corresponds with that pin. So let's get this little puppy on. Right, I just need to turn the board. Right, so that's now soldered on. Quite happy with that. There are no bridges. All the pins are in definite contact with the board. So now we need to do this one. Right, so we'll add some flux for the solder flow. Don't need too much on there. A bit more than that will do it. There we go. So again, you don't need to worry about the flux in the solder because the flux on the board is going to take care of that. So get a decent dollop on the iron and then just gently run it down those pins. Some bridges there, but they will soon come out. Remember, you need to heat the pins and the board. If you do get a bridge you can't get rid of, don't panic, just get a desoldering tool or some soldering braid. Right, so that's that side quite nicely on the board. That pin's a bit fat. Don't be afraid just to go in and add a bit more solder if you need to. You can always touch pins up. So let's turn that. And we'll do the other side. And the flux is already melted on that side from the heat from this side. Oh, I just love that. It's just like magic. So much easier when you learn how to do this, or get the hang of doing it. Right, that's the 4017 mount. Right, so in the middle of the board here we have D12, D13, D1, D14, D15. D1 is an LED. There's the symbol, the little arrow and the line, so we know this is minus. And there's pluses, it's actually put a plus on this side. Which leaves me wondering about the diodes, because they put a funny shape on the end of the board for them. Well, the camera is picking up the board, but on the silk screen I have like a battery sort of symbol. So the top has 2 angled sides that go across to the middle, a bit like half a hexagon. So I'm going to guess, and it is a guess, that that is the cathode, because that plus on the LED, I'm not sure actually, that one connects, there's a track there that connects to this one. And there's a loop. That one seems to go off. So I'm going to guess these are the pluses, so that's the minus. The minus is the cathode, which is the banded side. So we'll go with that. I would suggest opening SMDs in a contained or confined area, because that first one pinged. It's just taken me about 15 minutes to find it on the floor. So I'm just going to tin the pads when the soldering iron warms back up. Set the sleep on it to 2 or 3 minutes. Sometimes it catches you out. Right, that's up to temp. Let's give it a moment. There we go. So we'll get those 4. Oh, we may as well do the pad on this one as well. So that's the 4 pads tinned. Now these are 1N4148 diodes. There is a black band on one end. I'm banking on that being the pointy end of the battery, so to speak. One on. There's 2 on. Let's move that one over a bit. Remembering not to put it in the LED slot. That really would be a cock up. These bloody diodes seem to be longer than the actual pads. Right, so I'll turn the board. Right, I've killed my light to reduce the glare, but it's not helping me any. So I'm going to have to put it back on. The solder flows underneath them quite nicely. Okay, so they're fairly happy. I normally use solder paste on this sort of thing instead of just going in with the solder. I think those diodes would have been better off with solder paste. Never mind, they're on. So now we've got one LED and all of these resistors along here. So I'm going to turn the board towards you. Hold that there. Right, R61 to 64 are 10Ks. So that's a 103. That's 1 0 for 10 and 3 zeros for the 3 noughts, so 10,000, 10K. The SMD components are so much easier to work out the resistance than colour bands on through hole jobbies. So we'll start up here. It's so much easier with a decent set of pointy tweezers. I do like the reverse tweezers, but these are doing a grand job, and that one hasn't got the 103 the right way round. Bit of OCD kicking in. Right, again, polarity dependent. There's a plus there, so that makes the other end a minus. The minus has a little green marking on the tab, so we know this end's plus. Can't even see that. What did that do? The LEDs they provided seem to be a lot smaller than the board they're going on, or the pads they're going on. But never mind, now I might just give that a quick test with the multimeter. So I've put the meter onto continuity. We know this side's plus, that side's minus, so I've turned this light off. So we should get a glow from, there we go. So on continuity, the multimeter puts a small amount of power through the probes, which is handy for testing LEDs if you're not sure which way the LED is, but then you've got to figure out which way the board is. We know that works now, so we have a complete dickhead that's just put a resistor into a capacitor. Now I can't get the bugger off. Right, desoldering tool. So when you've got a spot for 4 resistors and a capacitor, don't put 5 resistors in. I reckon one day I'll suck one of these up the old desoldering tool. Oh, there we go, she came off then. So let's put that in the component tray. Let's grab the caps. So C27 and C28 are both 103s. I'm guessing that's microfarads. I'm still learning all these microfarads and whatnot. So let's get this cap on. Doesn't really matter what way up these go. Put them on their backs, on their sides, on the top, on the bottom. They pretty much will go on anyway. That's one capacitor. I think the practice side of the board has actually been numbered as well, which is why you've got C27 and 28 on here, and not C1 and C2. So that's the caps on. Now I think we should find R48 because that is the other 10k resistor, and I don't want it hanging around and getting lost. So R48 is the first one. That's where this little puppy should have gone in the first place. Right, that's R48 on. So R49 and R50. R50 is a 470. So that'd be basically it should be a 470. Let's have a look. Well, it says 471, so that's basically 47 and 10, so 470. So double check. R50 is the 470. Wait, 49 R50. Let's not put it on the wrong hole. That'd be even more embarrassing than getting the other resistor in the wrong place. So R49 is a 10M. Let's get you on. So that's the middle of the board populated. So we've got the 4017, 555, 1N 4148, the LED, the 10Ks, the 470, the 10M, and the other 10K. So next we shall move on to the outer resistors and the LEDs on the outer of the board, I think, because that'll be the easiest bit to do on camera. So what I'm going to do is solder the outer pads and then I'll be back. Right, that's the first one in position. Remembering checking the polarity, the green edge is the negative and the board does have positive marks, but it also shows the symbol for the diode in the correct orientation. Oh, hang on, that one's red. The first one came out blue. Well, this could be interesting. So I shall pause you while I do the rest of these. Right, that's all the LEDs in place. Now I'll just do a quick test on one so you can see it. Turn the light out. Oh, so we'll just grab a random one right here, and there we go. So quick test. So we have LEDs. There are 4 left and there are 4 corners. So we will come back to those. Now R51, 52, 53, 54, 55. Where does it start? 56, 57, 58, 59, 60. R51 to R60 are 1Ks. And seeing as we've got a whole strip of them, these will be these, and that's 102. So 1020 is 1000. So we want, what do we want? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of those. Notification was my missus texted me to tell me a package had arrived. So my new snips have turned up. So the ones in my other video, the fake Plato, I've literally just had 5 pairs of those arrive for the grand sum of 638, something like that. So literally just over £1 a pair. That's silly. I know they're fake, but they'll still do the job. So I don't know if these are magnetic or not, because things seem to stick to them. So I'll just do the rest of these. Well, I either miscounted or lost one of those resistors, but that's not a matter. So we've got all 10 resistors on board. We've got all 10 LEDs on board. So now we're looking at, I reckon we're going to have to do the 4 corners and then work on the rest of this inside lot. So we've got 4J3JY, I think they are, triodes or transistors, whatever. So probably an idea to put those on next. Right, so I've got 2 of the triodes on. So we'll get the other 2 on. The J. Okay, and welcome back. So I kind of ended up finishing this off camera as I forgot to hit the record. Duh. So we've got the 4 resistors on the inner outer edges. We've got the 4 LEDs on the 4 outer edges. The 4 triodes are in. We'd already done the middle of the board, so that's this completed. So let's see what the finished item looks like. Now, I did do this on camera for the first time, but unfortunately I didn't record it. So I've got a tiny bit of charge in this power bank. I don't know if there's enough to actually run. Let's find out. Let's get this in line. So, should we get another zoom on that? There we go. So let's press the button. And there we go. That's our working kit. So we have a flashing blue light in the middle, 4 corners flashing, and then the center roulette wheel just goes around continually. So I put that down as a success. It's a nice little practice kit. I have got a crap load of sample book resistors coming, so I'll have spares in the future for any of these kits without having to worry about it. But yeah, quite happy with that. I do love a success when it comes to SMD. I don't mind a failure with through hole, but a failure with SMD is just a kick in the jewels, really. So cracking little kit. ICstation, link in the description, will affiliate to ICstation, so I will get a few pennies for anything you buy via the link, so please note that. This is the only video that is affiliated so far to ICstation. So like the video, subscribe to the channel for more great kits. I've got some Velleman ones I want to finish off coming soon, so we'll have a few quality kits on the way. But as far as the cheap Chinese kits go, thanks for watching.